Hi, I'm Judy from Fox Cities Quilt Company in Appleton, Wisconsin, and this is Sunday from the Sewing Room, where we give you some tips, tricks, and a few tutorials to help you with your sewing and quilting projects. If you like our videos, please hit that subscribe button below and tell your friends. Today we are making a gorgeous block that you can make an entire quilt out of because it's just so pretty and it's so simple. We've already made the blocks and we're just going to put those blocks together to make an even better block. So it is called the Jacob's Ladder block, and it uses the 4 patches that we already learned, and I think we learned that in our very first week back on Sunday from the Sewing Room, and the half square triangle, which you have made 1,000 times, and you've seen me make it 1,000 times. So this is what the block looks like. Isn't it pretty? And it just looks so complex. And all it is 4 patches and half square triangles. And I'm going to show you how to make it. Let's get started. To make this block, you're going to need 4 patch blocks, which we showed you in the first week of our Back to Basics. And you are also going to need half square triangle blocks. These are two very, very simple blocks. We've showed you how to make them a whole lot, but let's show you how to put them together to make this extraordinary block. The first thing I do is I am going to take my 4 patch blocks, and I'm going to need 5 of them. And I set them out in a chain pattern. So meaning I want all of my blues to go this way, and that's a navy blue. If it's hard to see it on camera, it is navy blue. So I want my navy blues to be in a chain this way. And let's see if you can see that. And then I'm going to move this up and over a little bit because I want you to be able to see it in the camera. And then, so that means we want yellows running this way. So I'm going to take my yellow and make sure that that chain is going that way. So as you can see, I have this 4 patches here. Oh, honestly, I can talk. And so now I'm going to lay my half square triangles in there. And remember, on the 4 patches, don't forget to spin those centers, just like I showed you to in our first week, and we made those super flat seams. So now it's time to lay down my half square triangles. So my half square triangles have to kind of point to each other. So I have that one pointing that way. So there, the gray, and so therefore I want that gray to point the same direction. And then I want it to do the same thing here so that it points to each other. And look what a really cool block this makes. So let me show you what happens if you turn it around so that you have options. So let me pull these out. And we'll turn it so that the yellow is on the chain, on the long chain this way. And then the blue would go this way. Oops, one more turn. Okay. So we have our yellow going this way. Let me take this out so it confuses me. And we have our blue going this way. So it's the opposite direction of what we had it before. And then if we put those pieces in this way, the half square triangles, that is the look that you get. It's kind of the same thing, except that you have, it feels more dark in here than light, but maybe that's just me. Now, if you were to turn those around, you can also do it so that the yellows point into the center, and so that goes into the center so that the yellows point at each other, and it's a completely different look. So I don't know which one I like better. I kind of like all of these yellows together. So I think that that's how I'm going to sew it. So to sew these together, I'm going to sew them in rows. So this will be my first row. This will be my second row. This will be my third row, and I'm going to come back here and show you how I think that they should be pressed. I have my 3 rows sewn together and I've pressed them, and let me show you how and why I've pressed them. I have pressed my blocks so that they go out to the 4 patches, and the reason that I have done that is because when you flip this over, your seams are basically a road map. And from here, let me move this out of your way so it doesn't get lost in there. From here, you can see that white thread. See where that intersection is? That is your road map, and that is where you're going to want to sew on each of these points. This one has a little bit of a knot, but you can see right there is where I'm going to want to sew so that I don't lose the points on my half square triangles. Had I pressed these the other way, so let's say towards the half square triangles, you can see that when I do that, I lose my road map. So you can see I pressed them towards the 4 patch, so I still have my road map of my intersection. But if I had pressed the other way, I don't have my road map. I've lost my intersection. So I chose to press them in towards the 4 patch so that I can have my intersections and so that I do not lose my points when I sew these 3 rows now together. And I'm going to get those sewn together and show you what that looks like. And here is my block all sewn together. When you have a road map, look how nice those points come together. I want to show you this. They're just beautiful. And then I have nice flat seams again because I've spun these seams. And let me show you how I spun the seams in this block. So I have this turned over here, and you can see I have spun that seam because it is basically a 4 patch coming together, and I have spun that seam. I didn't spin these yet because I wanted to show you what that looks like. So I'm going to take this block, and where this intersection is of these 4 blocks, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to just take out those couple of stitches right there and make sure, and I'm going to clip that thread because that's going to drive me nuts. I gotcha. And then I am going to flip it around and take out the other 2 stitches, only up to that intersection again. And let me take those out. Now over here, it's a little harder to see because you have 1, 2, 3 intersections, but this straight up and down one is the one that you want to take out right there. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to pull those stitches out. And you're probably asking yourself, why do you go through all this? Does it really matter? It really, really does, because it makes just the nicest laying block. Even though I have a wool pressing mat, this makes them even so much flatter. I got one more stitch to take out there. I'm going to get rid of that little thread. And let me show you what it looks like when you spin those then. So this will spin this way. Oh, come on, stinker. And then you can see that I have, oh, I didn't quite get that thread out. Let me get that thread out. False advertising here. Got one more thread to get out of there. Okay. Now I can spin those seams, and then I will have that nice little 4 patch looking in there. And then I will spin this seam this way. And as you can see, I kind of got a pinwheel block in there. And that will make these lay really nice and flat. That still isn't quite laying the way I want to, but it's going to be so much better than having all that bulk there. So that is how we make the Jacob's Ladder block. So this is how we make the Jacob's Ladder block. It's really a very, very cool block. It looks like it was really, really hard. And it also looks like you worked so hard on it when it's just a 4.5 patch square triangle. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. We'll be back next week with another basic block tutorial. This is Judy from Fox Cities Quilt Company in Appleton, Wisconsin. Thank you so much for watching Sunday from the Sewing Room. Bye-bye now.